Okay, this is John McEntee here for the Rock Fantasy Files, and we're here with Dave Ingram, the posh and very prolific vocalist. You probably know him from Benediction, but he's also jammed with Hail of Bullets. He's jammed with even Bolt Thrower for a while, and a bunch of other projects. I know you're doing another one now, but we'll get to all that stuff later. Anyway,
Okay.
it's great to have him here. He's been a friend for quite a while, and an amazing career, and they have a great new album out. Scriptures, which is just totally badass, was one of my top albums of the year, and I was really impressed with the fact that they came back with way more fire than they left with, in my opinion. So it's really awesome. So welcome to the show, Dave. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, mate. And thanks for having me on the show. And first thing, this is one of the very rare moments that I'll do either video interviews or audio interviews in not a live situation as such, because we're recording, but
Yes.
doing this, usually the only interviews I do is via email. So, and I only do them with people I trust, and I trust you. I've met you, and
Thank you.
we've shared a beer together. So
Yeah, it's
when you ask me, it's like jump at the chance straight away. And also, you were saying about the album Scriptures being one of your favorites. Well, one of my favorites of 2020 was Incantations, and I've actually ordered it from one of the Danish websites, and I've been given the message today that where it was ordered from has sold out. So that's good news for you. So they've had
yes.
to order it from another place, and I'll get it within a month, they said. So
It's actually been really crazy because our new album Sect of Vile Divinity
mm,
has it sold way better than even Relapse was originally planning on. It was just crazy. We sold the amount of our 3 years of the sales of our Profane Nexus album. We sold more copies in the first month of with the new album, which is just
wow.
totally amazing to think about.
Yeah.
It's really great. We definitely did not expect such a great response from it. I mean, we always want it, but it's nice to have it, but you never really expect it because you're playing death metal, just doing your own thing, and
Mm,
maybe you don't notice it, but for some reason people seem to like it. But getting back to you guys, I mean, your album, is amazing too. I mean, the fire that's on there, just the first time I heard the first song, I was just like, this is fucking killer track, and I had to check out the whole thing, and I bought the album, and it's just a great album. I mean, it's just is what people I think want to hear is just like, benediction being benediction,
mm,
and it's
mm.
it's the production's great, and just the overall sound is just it's great, and it's great obviously to have you back in the band. No disrespect to the other vocalists that they had, but it
Oh,
just
Dave Hunt. No.
yeah, but it's just for me, you just fit better in the band. You just to me, with you doing vocals, it just sounds, I guess, more death metal. It had a little bit more of a I don't know, punk vibe almost on some of the last previous albums. Which, I mean, it
Mm.
still has a little bit of that in there, but it just sounds more death metal with you in there. I don't know. It just your
I
vocal
get
style
you.
rules. Yeah.
No, I get you, and I do understand. And the reason Dave Hunt, the previous singer, the reason he left is because he originally he was going to leave. Well, it would take a hiatus for about 6 months to do his PhD. Well,
Oh,
he realised that it was going to take longer than that, and he couldn't commit to another album.
yeah.
So originally, I was asked to do a few shows with the band just as one-off specials, and then it sort of turned around and well, Dave's not going to stay in the band. Do you want to be back in full time? And before the phone call came through, I sort of said to my wife and son here at home, I said, "What do you guys think?" And they were both like, "If they ask, do it." And I was like, so I got the thumbs up from like my wife and my son, and I wasn't going to say no because I wanted it as well.
Yeah, I think, I mean, that's good that they support you on that because you need that kind of support and you want to go into it, without, you don't want to ruffle any feathers at home, but
Oh no.
so it's super. It was really cool that they were so, supportive
Mm.
of you doing it. And I mean, honestly, I think anybody that is a Benediction fan, is happy to see you back in the band. It's just, it's it's just a great thing. I mean, those albums that you did with Benediction in the past are just, kind of death metal, a legendary death metal albums. So, and it's great. Like I said, you came back maybe harder than you did even the first time around. It's hard. I mean, I was listening to some of the earlier ones that you played on too. Again, I revisited those, and those are
Yeah.
great albums too. But this one just, right out of the gate, I just heard it and I was like, wow, this is awesome. I mean, back in the day when I heard the other albums, I thought they were great albums, but for some reason this one just hit me like this is a step up. Like I don't, maybe there's just was that fire there to do it. And what's really great is that people from our generation of death metal are coming back. A lot of us are coming back with new albums that are doing extremely well. And just, you can just tell that there's an actual sincere love for doing it. It's not just
Mm.
a paycheck. Unfortunately, there are a lot of bands in our style that, they kind of do it just because, you know, you want to make money and go out on tour and they're supposed to do a new album,
Yeah.
and your album doesn't sound like that. Your album sounds like a very sincere, um you know sincere album, sincere death metal album, and
Oh,
I
thank
think
you.
it's really important. That's but oh, go ahead.
No. It was just you saying like the first time you heard it. It reminds me of the story of writing the songs for it, because obviously we did it across the internet.
Hmm.
Um, the two guitarists, Darren and Rue, would write the songs, and they could construct a demo version of them, and then send them to me. And the very first one they sent was the second song on the album, "Scriptures in Scarlet."
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to write a song about the movie's franchise, The Evil Dead,
Oh yeah,
and that's what that's about.
oh, that's
Obviously,
awesome.
um,
One of my favorites.
yeah, mine too, mine too. And when I first started writing that song, it kicks off with me going, "Ooh, hey," which is pretty staple for what I do from previous albums. And when the guys heard it, Darren and Rue were together, and Darren turned to Rue and said, "Well, we're back." So I
That's
thought that was
great.
pretty, it just sort of reminded me. And
Yeah.
so yeah, so we're back. Not that Benediction ever went away, of course.
Well, it was
Uh,
quite a while since the last album, though. I mean,
yeah,
I
it
was
was.
I didn't
It was.
realize it was so long, but it was what, probably '08 or '09 is when the one
That's right.
previous
Yeah,
one. I mean, that's a long hiatus. Holy crap.
yeah. But they did do a lot of touring.
Yeah.
So they were playing gigs and doing tours, South America, I don't know about North America,
I
but
don't think
definitely
so.
they did South America a few times, and
Yeah.
they did festivals and that just about everywhere. So yeah, it's not like they were away; they were
Yeah.
still around, but they were touring rather than producing music and putting it out.
Well, I think, yeah, I'm hoping with the success of the new album that you will be able to get over to Europe because it's been, I mean, man, honestly, I don't remember the last time Benediction came over here. Uh, I mean, I remember when you guys came over here with Bolt Thrower, but I mean, holy crap, that was like, was it
That was
90?
'94.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
they must
that
have
was
came another time though, or is that the last time they got here that you think?
that was the last time I remember. I think Benediction came over. They did Maryland Death Fest 1 year, and
Yeah, I think they
yeah,
did. Yeah,
they've done stuff like that. But it's not
yeah,
been a big tour. That time in '94 was a big tour. Yeah, with Bolt Thrower.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Um, Anything else as far as for the new album that you would like to just let people know about? Maybe something to describe it for people that, a newer generation that might not know about you guys, or, just anything that might be important. I just want to make sure we touch on all that stuff.
Sure. There was an interview that I did again by email. We spoke about this before we started recording. That oh no, we did speak about it at the beginning. Sorry, I've
Okay.
been drinking. Don't worry about it, folks. But yeah, I was doing this one interview, and a guy was asking me how would you get someone to listen to Benediction, where would you say start from? Now, usually I would say start from the first album.
Yeah.
But with a band like Benediction, where there's been different singers, like 3 different singers in the band.
Yes.
So I'd say start at Transcend the Rubicon, then go to the new album Scriptures. And if you're excited by what you hear there, then go back to the beginning and go through the rest. That's how I would say that, especially for newer fans now who are just getting into the new Scriptures album.
So, that's cool. Yeah. Well, anything else as far as the new album goes that you want to bring up too?
Off the top of my head, what makes me think of right now is the fact that we've played a couple of the songs live, but only at about 3 or 4 shows. This is pre-pandemic days. The last gig we actually played with Benediction was December 2019. So it's been a long while. I'm not sure if I can swear on this show.
Yeah, you can. It's okay.
Okay. Oh, that's fucking a relief. Anyway, but no, we want to get out and play live, and we're actually having a hard time choosing which songs we want to play live.
Yeah, I know how that goes.
Yeah, it's beginning to get a bit, I want this one, and Darren wants this one and this one. But there is a consensus that the ones that were recorded as videos, the 3 songs that were videos, they're going to be in the live set.
Well, it's good to have a problem.
They were good enough for the videos.
It's good to have the problem of too many good songs that you want to put in a set and not enough, because there's a lot of bands out there that are just looking for songs they could put in a set so people won't run away. So it's great. It's great to have that problem. It is a problem though. I mean, I understand it. I have a similar problem with Incantation, because there's so many. We have so many albums out and so many songs that people want to hear, and it's always difficult to do that kind of stuff. You want to do your best because you want to please your fans. You want it to be entertaining for your fans. You don't want it, but there's new fans that want to hear the classics, and then there's older fans that might want to hear the deeper cuts. So it's always a difficult difficult task or whatnot. Okay, well, I want to go back super old school, and I want to hear about, the scene that you had back in Birmingham in the mid 80s. It seems like a really magical time. I mean, Birmingham obviously has an amazing history of metal, but in the like 84, 85-ish, 86, 87, all that stuff really, was kind of the birth of kind of grindcore. You had lots of great bands from that area. So it must have been a interesting scene. It would just be really awesome to hear about, like maybe if it was a club or a place where they have parties or just something cool about that time that, people would be interested in hearing.
The thing is, 85, I just left school.
Okay.
And not that I had a sheltered life, but I never really ventured out. And it was more like 87, 88.
Okay.
When I was venturing out. It was around the year that Doctor Who got cancelled on television. So I had nothing to do at home, obviously. So I had to go out. So it was around that time. So and there were places. There was, let's see, in Birmingham, there was a place called Mr. Bill's Beer Keller, and a lot of the Hells Angels and bikers and that would go there. And it was I hate to use this phrase, but it was a safe space for metalheads because of all the bikers that were there. You could go in and have a great time, and you wouldn't get hassled. Good
especially
music.
At that time, being a metalhead was already, would either segregate you from society or just give you. It wasn't like now. It's way more accepting, but back then, it's easy to get into a brawl or get shit from people, even just from the cops in the United States.
Yeah. But then after the beer keller that I moved from, there was the pub, the best pub in the entire world. And that is the Costermongers. and it's still open to this day. Well, okay, not right now because of the fucking lockdown, but
Yeah.
it's reopened. It had been closed for about 10 years or something, and it was a friend of mine that reopened it, and she was telling me that when they went in, they still had the exact same amplifier for the DJ system.
Oh, wow.
And they switched it on and it worked, and they still use it to this day. It had been there for 15 years, and all the bar stools and the glasses that were in there, they're all the same ones. They just washed them, cleaned them down. They were just covered in dust and shit.
Yeah.
And it was the best place. It was where I met the guys from Benediction back in 1990 after Barney had left to join Napalm Death full time. You couldn't do both bands.
Yeah.
And I saw them in that pub, the Costermongers, and I said to them, guys, what's the matter? You look a bit down, a bit depressed. I said, yeah, Barney's quit. So I said, look, I'm singing in this punk band that I'm doing. How about I audition? And they said, yeah, sure, come on Saturday. And this was on a Wednesday. So I had like 2 days to learn the whole Subconscious Terror album, which I managed to do, or at least most of it. And did the audition, and well, here we are doing this interview now. So,
I guess there was probably a big punk scene back then. You said you were in a punk band before.
Yeah, well, it's sort of punk hardcore. They really wanted to be Amoebics.
Okay.
And back then I didn't know who Amoebics was, and I got into them.
Yeah.
Musically, and it was. I was into punk. Well, the very first 7-inch single that I bought was The Clash, and the song Tommy Gun. So, I sort of had a mix of heavy metal and punk from when I was a very young age.
Well, that's common though. I mean, same thing for our scene back in the day. I mean, when I started playing with my former band Revenant, it was, most of our shows were with punk rock bands or hardcore bands or just some kind of like, different kind of thing, because it was just, we were all just outcasts and we all kind of got along, even if, we were playing, we were more metal and stuff than the punk bands, but they liked it because it was still kind of extreme or whatever. And we liked the punk stuff. I mean, bands like Black Flag and, MDC and, stuff like that, old Suicidal Tendencies, even, just whatever.
Oh man, we're on the same page here.
Yeah. So it's even though we're from, I'm sorry, different countries, it's still the same kind of thing, because back then there just wasn't a big enough community of like super extreme metal or just, it all was one thing. Of
it
just
all gelled together.
Yeah.
And also there wasn't the internet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, it was what you could get. You'd go into a store, not that it was a bad way, but you'd go into a record store, and this is how I would judge albums. I'd see the cover and I'd go, I want to listen to that.
Yes.
And sometimes I'd just buy the album immediately. That happened with me with, don't laugh, but Manowar's Hail to England.
I love Manowar, so it's
good. The first 4 or 5 albums are classics.
Yeah,
absolute classics.
I bought, actually, that was the first Manowar album I bought, and I bought it because the cover was so badass.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. There you go. And then I listened to the earlier stuff after, before that, and it was like, oh, that's great. Like, the stories about Manowar I could tell you.
Yeah, we actually just did an episode on Manowar, and we had Ross the Boss join us for that, and it was a total blast going down memory lane with Manowar stuff.
Wow, right. He's a nice guy. He's a nice
super
guy,
cool guy. Yeah.
But that was it. You walk into like record stores and you'd never heard an album. You judge it by the cover, and either I'd just buy it outright, or I'd say to the guy behind the desk, I'd say, can you put it on? And I usually end up buying it.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. Actually, we were just also did a show on the Killers album by Iron Maiden, which you were supposed to be a part of. And that was one of those albums that I bought. I seen that cover and I was just like, you had to get it, it just looked so badass, Oh, and
I think I may have been the devil's advocate in that one, or if that's the right term, I don't know. Because I'm of the opinion that that's not the best Iron Maiden album.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It's a good album. There's nothing wrong with it. but the first album was better, and the following one, Number of the Beast, was better. It's just, that's just me.
Yeah,
So,
of course. Everybody has their own opinion on it.
yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Yeah. So, I guess since we didn't have you for that show, off the Killers album, I guess, what are some of your song highlights on that one? Anything you could think of offhand?
Well, what I found with the album in total was that it was more melody driven.
Yeah.
I found a lot more melody, and the technicality that Iron Maiden could put into a song. It sort of grew more, and that's why I preferred the first album, because it was raw. It was, I mean, obviously they had their technicalities in there. You listen to the Phantom of the Opera. My God, I could not believe it when I first heard that.
I know.
Right? So yeah, they were always technically driven, but I think more so, and melody as well. There's the one track, I can't remember the title right now, but it has like the acoustic guitar strumming all the way through it.
Yeah.
Or is that one of the singles that came around at the same time?
I think that was Prodigal Son. I can't remember.
Because I did a lot of research for this.
Yeah.
For doing that show. But the thing is, as I mentioned to you a few weeks back, I have, because of the condition that I have, I take a fair bit of medication, and it just messes with my memory. So I can't remember things. It's honestly, it's not always the alcohol, believe me.
So, getting back to the kind of the 80s scene in Birmingham, were you into some of the, stuff that, let's like say the grindcore stuff, like the old Napalm Death, or like the Carcass, and just other bands that were playing kind of extreme stuff back then, or was that not really your thing?
No, it was definitely my thing. Like the first Napalm album, the first couple of Carcass albums, especially the first two Carcass albums.
I love those.
Yeah, they're my favorites that the band have ever done.
Yeah,
not that I'm being disparaging about their previous their efforts.
Just
afterwards.
different. It's a different band at a certain, like, since was a Necroticism, they kind of started to become a different band, and it just it's just more of a preference if you like the older stuff or the newer stuff more. I don't think it's, and I think they would probably understand that. Of course, some people that like Reputrefaction are not going to like Surgical Steel as much.
Yeah,
it's like it's actually quite amazing, because it's such an opposite side of the spectrum. I mean,
absolutely.
when I heard Symphonies of Sick, not Symphonies, was Reputrefaction, it took me a while to even understand what was going on. But once I did, I was like, this is really phenomenal. It's just amazing. It was almost like Napalm Death, but like a crazier version,
Yeah, there's oh, there we go. I knew that'd do it. Yes. Like there's what was that Napalm EP? Was it called Mentally Murdered?
Yeah, Mentally Murdered.
I absolutely love that one.
That's a great one.
That and Harmonic Eruption.
Yeah.
That and Harmonic Eruption. Two of my favorite Napalm releases.
Yeah, it's great. But you got to witness some of those early live shows and stuff. I mean, that must have been pretty intense.
Yeah. I got to see Bolt Thrower a lot.
Oh, awesome.
Which was like you say, awesome. It's like battle there is no law. Sort of era.
Yeah, I mean, at that time, especially to see that stuff, I mean, that was really, really forward thinking at that time. Those bands. It was really, really amazing.
And I was a huge fan because of that.
Yeah,
getting to see them so often. So fast forward years later, and they call me up and say, do you want to join? And I was like, dream come true. Like, I consider them one of my, favorite bands of all time.
Yes.
Along with Black Sabbath, Queens of the Stone Age, Them Crooked Vultures, Bolt Thrower. Those are some of my absolute favorite bands that, I never tire of hearing over and over and over again. So,
I think Bolt Thrower is a great band, and I like the fact that they always stick to what their pocket is, what they're into. It's not trying to reinvent the wheel. They're just trying to do it properly. Do it the best way they can. So I totally admire that. but yeah, I guess getting into the bolt thrower thing. I mean, how did that whole thing come about? I mean, because you joined, I think, after they had Martin Van Druen for a little while, right? Like,
That's right, yeah. But a lot of people have said, because when I did the Hail of Bullets gig,
yeah. Oh, yeah. You
yeah,
follow
but
Martin Van Druen on that too.
but that's not true. It's not true. It's not actually true. In Hail of Bullets, yes, I did follow Martin Van Drunen. That is very much obvious. But what people forget is in Bolt Thrower, it was Martin Van Drunen, and then they parted ways. And
Yeah.
then Carl came in to do the Mercenary album,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
and that was released. He didn't want to tour for it, so it was after that they asked me, after I'd left Benediction for the back in '98.
Yeah.
So that was it. I actually followed Carl. If
Yeah.
officially, that
Yeah,
is
I know
what
what
it
you're
is.
saying.
But people don't really see that, and they should, because it wasn't me following Martin. And
Well,
I've spoken to Martin about this, and
yeah.
he agrees. Like we've had a laugh about it. So
Well, I mean, being, in that, like that category of, Carl, Martin, and doing some of the same stuff. I mean, that's an amazing trilogy of, great death metal vocalists. So, I mean, in a way, it's almost, it almost should be an honor because they were all great. I mean, Martin Van Druen is amazing. I love his vocal style, and
oh
Carl
man,
is
so
amazing too.
unique.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I was
Carl
just,
too. Carl's unique as well.
yeah, actually, yeah. I mean, Carl definitely has his own thing that
Mm.
started even from back then. Because a lot of the vocalists back then when they started were really going for the super deep thing, kind of, and
Yeah,
he
or they were holding their
yeah, they're
the
yeah,
microphone and
cupping the
that.
mics, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and he has his own distinct tone, and that's part of what makes him a great vocalist is because
Mm-hmm.
you're hearing him be himself. I mean, anybody could just cup the mic and sound, heavy as fuck, but it's more important. Obviously, is to have personality in the vocals too. It's not just about a race to the low tone. It's the
Yeah,
power, it's the
and
feeling,
having
essence of it.
the clarity of
Yeah,
that.
it's
There's a friend of mine who buys. He's not a death metal fan, but he always buys whatever release I've put out, and he always says, "I don't need to read the lyrics; I can understand what you sing." Whoa, well that's good, because when if I lose the lyrics before I've you know made them digital or something,
yeah.
I have to listen back to what I've been singing,
Oh
and I
man.
can't work it out, so I have to send it to him and say, "What the hell am I saying there?"
That's great. Yeah, that's totally awesome. So, what was it? I'm trying to think. So, I mean, the first album obviously had Barney was doing vocals on that, and that was the first time I heard the band. Were you familiar with Benediction back then too? Did you have the first album?
Yes, I did. I had it, and again, like with Bolt Thrower, getting to see them live a lot. Living
Oh,
in
okay.
Birmingham, I
Yeah.
could see Benediction every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
fact, I saw them before they were called Benediction. They were called under the name Reprisal, with the guy who was singing for them before Barney.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
His name was, believe it or not, his name was also Dave.
Oh yeah. Well, did
Yeah.
he do any other bands that would be
I
notable?
don't think so, but a few years back he passed away. I'm not
Oh,
sure of the circumstances,
yeah.
but yeah, he passed away. But he was a fucking great bloke.
Yeah.
He was a little bit scary, but he was a great bloke.
Yeah. That's cool. So, I mean, once once you got asked by Benediction to, be the vocals for the band, how was it for you? Were you extremely confident, nervous, or like because I don't you said you played in a kind of a like a hardcore punk band or something like that. So I mean, was switching over to Benediction a big change for you or anything?
Um, well, there was definitely a change because of the material that they were giving me to write for. This is obviously the Grand Leveler album, and these were quite long songs, considering I was doing punk stuff, which was 2 minutes long maximum,
Yeah.
really, and three riffs. This was songs that have about 20, 30 riffs in them.
Were you singing in your signature kind of tone then in the punk band, or were you doing a different kind of vocal style?
No, I was trying to do the death metal growl thing.
Okay. Yeah.
But at the time, I was actually the bass player.
Oh, okay.
So I was playing bass and singing, and therefore doing both badly. Yeah, but I noticed, and it was actually, I believe the singer at the time from the band Cerebral Fix.
Oh, I remember.
He came over to me and said, after a gig that we played, he came over and said, "Your vocal." No, sorry, it wasn't the singer. It was the guitarist Tony, Tony Warburton. He came over to me and said, "Your vocals sound great. Were you doing backing vocals on this one song?" Because we had like the singer, the vocalist in that particular band, he had a sort of a higher-ish voice, more of a punk voice. And there was my deeper death metal stuff I was trying to do. He came over to me, Tony, and said, yeah, I really enjoy what you're doing. Should maybe move forward with that. And that's what made me think, well, I'm a pretty awful bass player. So how about being a vocalist? And I considered with this band that I was in, they were called Plague HDC. And I was considering being the vocalist because the vocalist himself had decided to travel around Europe. And then getting another bass player in the band. But then the thing with Benediction came up, and again, here we are now.
Yeah. So with Benediction, was the tour you did in the U.S. a bolt thrower?
Yeah, it was. Was that 94?
Was that the first time though you toured the U.S.? I can't remember. I'm trying to think back then because
it was the first time Benediction had been there. We'd been offered tours, but they'd fallen through. Okay. The year previously, we'd been offered a tour, and the last two shows gave away that it was a complete scam. The one was in South Florida on the 23rd of December, and the next gig was in California the next day, and we weren't flying. So we thought this is complete bullshit.
Yeah,
so
that's
obviously
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And because I remember, I think I can't remember, it was the drummer and guitar player came to the U.S. before that, I think, to do press. Might have been for the Grand Leveler. I remember I was driving them around. I was like their chauffeur while they were here. And I remember taking them to see some of the sites and stuff like
that. Which band? Benediction?
Yeah. It was.
In which year?
It must have been 91, 90, probably 92 or something like that.
I don't remember them going to America.
Yeah,
they didn't tell me that. But it wasn't, bastards!
It wasn't.
You never told me that.
It was just
two
of the guys in the band just came out and they were doing press, and we were signed to Relapse, which was they were partnered with Nuclear Blast back then.
That's right. Yeah, Nuclear Blast America. Yeah.
Yeah. So they basically said, well, we have. I'm sorry, I don't remember their names offhand, but they're like, we have, XYZ coming in from, England, from Benediction. They need someone to kind of show them around and kind of set up like, a place you're going to stay. I can't remember, just whatever, just someone to be kind of like the hospitality guide in the New York area. And I remember just picking them up and just taking them to see all the scenes and stuff like that.
I remember this.
And I think I can't remember if I drove them to the Relapse office or there was some kind of promo thing in New York. It was too long ago to remember. I mean, maybe if you ask them, they might remember.
You bet I'm going to bloody ask them, because I never knew about this. Because if they'd have asked me, I would have gone.
Yeah.
So right. I'll test. In fact, they'll be seeing this video.
Yeah.
You bastards. You bastards.
Yeah, it's been I mean, it was one of those things that happened so long ago, and I just haven't thought about it until this interview came up. Like, fuck, I remember driving those guys around. And but
you know what I'm suddenly reminded of, actually, as well, 94, when Benediction was playing in America with Bolt Thrower.
Yeah.
And we flew in like a week early for whatever fucking stupid reason, and we were in Cleveland, and there was a band, excuse me, a band who was signed to Relapse or Nuclear Blast America, who met us and wanted to show us around, and they drove us to the Rock and Roll Museum, which was being built.
Oh.
It was a building site, and they were like, "This is where the Rock and Roll Museum." We were like, "It's a fucking building site, mate. Can we go to the pub?" But another thing, the hotel where we were staying at was on this stretcher road, and pretty, out on the outskirts of the city. But there was this club further down, and we noticed outside there was a sign the one night. It said, "Tomorrow night, the band British Steel." And we asked the people who were in the venue, "Who are they?" They're a Judas Priest cover band.
Yeah.
We're like, "Oh, great. We'll be back tomorrow. Nice one." We went back, and it was Tim Owen.
Yeah.
It was his band. And we were saying to him, "Tim, Rob Halford's left Judas Priest. Why don't you audition? Go on, nudge, go on, audition for Judas Priest." And the thing is, he did, and he got the job. And he's always said it's because we were pushing him to do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's good. He's a good lad. He's Tim. I like him.
Yeah. I was living in Cleveland at the time when he got the gig for Judas Priest, and it was such a big deal for the Cleveland scene, because we were just super proud of the fact that somebody local, and he did a great job. I mean, I know some people, dismiss him as a vocalist for Priest, but I love the Drugulator album. I think he did a great job on that album.
That's a fucking fantastic album. I
listened to that. I remember, especially when it came out, I heard it and I was like, holy crap. It was like so heavy, and just his vocals are stellar on it. I mean, it just was, to me, it was really a great, a great replacement for Rob Halford. I mean, of course, Rob Halford's Rob Halford, and everybody loves Rob Halford, being with Priest. But I mean, if he's not going to be in the band, Ripper Owen did an amazing job. And I've seen him live with Ripper Owen a couple times. It's always sounded great. You can't say that those songs, he wasn't fumbling any of those, high notes. Yeah. He got everything.
He hit the lot.
Yeah, probably like technically probably sang the songs better than Rob Halford in a way, because he kind of had to.
Yeah, it's the bonus of youth.
Yeah, exactly.
So talking about the other projects, not just Benediction, but all the other things that I'm involved in. Yeah. So if you want like a quick rundown.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So let's see. Down Among the Dead Men.
Yes, I heard about that.
That's a project. We've done 3 albums so far. There'll be a 4th. Myself and Roger Johansson. We're not quite sure if the 4th one will be the last. But never say never on that one. So then there's also a band Echelon.
Okay, yeah.
Which will be the 3rd album. I'm working on it. Well, I started working on it. Then something else came up, and then I'm going to continue working on it afterwards. So the 3rd album will be there. Same goes for Sinner, the project I'm doing with Johnny Peterson, who's in Woundbath. That's in the works as well. But both
pretty busy.
Yeah, but Down Among the Dead Men, Echelon, and Sinner, they're all signed to Transcending Obscurity Records. And right now, that label has quite a backlog of releases. This is down to COVID. Yeah. So it's not the record label is not to be blamed. So it's going to be a while before those come out. But we're working on them now. But another band that's coming out on Transcending Obscurity is the debut by Hell, Frost and Fire that I've done. I would say it's a mix of Celtic Frost, Hellhammer, and Winter. So
like a good mix.
Yeah, and also the lyrics are sort of like the lyrics are conceptual, but the songs don't flow into each other, and it's sort of a tale along the lines of Lord of the Rings.
Okay, awesome.
or if you want to cheapen it, Game of Thrones. So yeah, so it's sort of that type of thing. If you look at the lyrics on the album To Megatherion by Celtic Frost,
great lyrics on that album.
The best death metal album ever made.
I love that album.
Ever made. So I took a lot of influence on those style of lyrics for this album.
Yes.
And then let's see that I've just been working on the a brand new project called Stygian Dark. As I said to you, this microphone is what I've been recording it with, so I didn't know if it needed a clean, sanitizing. Before.
Yeah, might smell a little funny.
Yeah, exactly. And while we were doing that project, this is another one with Roger Johansson, actually. We talked about, we made some joke while we were chatting online, and it was about drinking beer and getting drunk and stuff. So we actually said about getting pickled. So Roger said, hey, what about a band called Formaldehydist? And we sing songs about alcohol and murder and stuff like that. And I said, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Let's do that. And I also made the suggestion that me and a friend of mine share vocal duties on this album. And it's actually going to be Mass Horlu. He's the guitarist in Undergang.
Oh, that's a great band. I love their new album.
Yeah.
I've seen some of their live
Their
streams.
new album is my top for 2020.
It's a really great album. Oh.
It's sick. It's sick bastards.
Yes. It's like
dames.
such great old school vibe with a new band,
Yeah.
It sounds
exactly.
sincere too.
Yeah, exactly. And I've known Mass since I moved to Denmark. So he's one of the first guys I started hanging out with. So we've been close friends for 25 years almost.
Wow.
And so it's good that we're doing another project together. We did one years ago called Desert Mouth, but it never made no one's ever heard it.
Yeah.
And we can't find the tapes. So if I'm going through the attic during the springtime, if I can find a cassette and then I'll digitize it and the world can hear this rubbish we did back in 1998.
Yeah.
But besides all that stuff that I'm doing, there's also the Troikadon album with myself, Carl Willits, and Cam Lee on vocals.
Oh, I do remember hearing something about that.
Yeah, it's been like 3 years or something.
Yeah.
It's just because our schedules have been all fucked up and we just haven't been able to get things done. And then there was some problems with the recording. So, yeah, we're getting it sorted. And it'll be there. It's coming. Roger sent me some more of the tracks through. So, I've got more stuff to work on. And I've spoken with Cam. And he says, like, just write the lyrics. And he's happy with that. He's busy with Massacre. So.
Yeah, he's doing another version of Massacre, I think, now or something.
Yes, and a far superior version.
Cool. I didn't hear it, so I don't know. Yeah, but I'm sure it'll be killer.
Trust me. I've heard some. It's fucking awesome.
Well, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Cam's work. I mean, he's one of the legends of death metal. So
it's one of my biggest influences. Him and Tom G. Warrior.
Yeah,
and that, which is why I sound like both of them. Which is why I don't think my vocals are original, because I sound like Cam Lee and Tom G. Warrior together. So.
Well, it's definitely an awesome influence to have. I mean, there's no doubt the importance Cam Lee had early on the
absolutely
death metal scene. And, it was awesome because I remember getting back to the old Birmingham scene, and all those old bands were such huge Massacre fans. And I was always blown away because I was like, it was really great because, obviously it was a kind of a pride and joy of, us Americans to have someone like Cam Lee, is legendary. Those demos, that the Massacre demos especially, were legendary demos back then. It was so nice to see that, Napalm Death, all those bands, Carcass, Bolt Thrower, everybody was really, especially Benediction. I mean, Benediction's, if you listen, obviously the first album, Barney is like doing all the Cam little talk, the little that's awesome.
Exactly.
And I heard it, I was like, that's killer.
I saw Benediction's first show. I was actually at their first show, awesome. and it got recorded, and it was released as like a floppy 7-inch, like the first few songs.
Yeah.
And Barney does the whole Cam Lee thing, running out on stage and doing the sort of whatever stage maneuver it was at the time. I can't quite remember, but still. And everyone said, like, yeah, Cam Lee, and he was influenced by Cam Lee too. I don't think he sort of says it so much now, but I always will. I absolutely always raise my hand and say, yeah, Cam Lee is my biggest influence. Him and Tom G. Warrior,
well,
two of my biggest influences.
I think it's honorable, and it's, for me, it's the right thing to do. Is just to not shy away from your influences, but to applaud them, because it just I mean, they helped you become who you are, and it's always normal for especially musicians that are starting out to get influenced by. There's a reason why you want to do it. There's somebody you hear, and you want to use that as your template to become who you are. That's just a normal thing. But yeah, I know there's always people out there that try to pretend like you could hear who they're influenced by, but they'll say to their dying breath that they're not influenced by him, which is just rubbish. You hear that all the time. But getting back to your other bands too, is Hail of Bullets still a thing? I haven't heard anything from them, and I actually haven't asked them. I've seen them a few times, but the guys I've seen a few times, but I never really asked about that, if it was still going on.
No, it's gone. It's done.
Okay.
Yeah, and as well, I think if it had still been going, and then Benediction would have said, "Hey, Dave, do you want to come back?" I might have said yes, and then sort of left Hail of Bullets. Yeah. So I think it ended at the right time,
Yeah, so it worked out the right time.
And again, not to be disparaging to them, they were great guys to work with.
Yeah,
guys to work with. And in fact, I believe yesterday, the day before we're recording this, was Paul Bayan's birthday.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, Paul's a great guy. I mean, really, the whole band is great guys. So,
do you know that Paul is a vampire?
I didn't know that, but I'm happy you told me.
Paul is a vampire. If you look at the photo of Paul from today and have a look at an album from his of 1994, he's exactly the fucking same. He hasn't aged.
Oh wow! Yeah. I have
Dutch
to check
vampire.
that out. Yeah. Yeah. That must have been a blast though, to do the Hail of Bullets stuff too. That was great stuff. I remember seeing your set at the was it the
Maryland
Death Fest? Yeah, that was great. It was awesome too to be able to see you playing live, because I don't remember the last time I've seen you play live. So it was nice to just I'm sure it was a great experience. For
it was 10 years previously. That was the first gig I'd done in 10 years.
Oh, really? Wow.
Almost to the day.
Wow. So that must have been a real trip.
Yeah, it was. It really was. And because what you didn't see was all the lyrics I had on the monitors. Yeah. Because Martin's lyrics are like they're a book.
A book? Is that right?
For every song. So I had so much to learn.
Yeah, I think it's like the opposite of probably your Stit and Bolt Thrower, where you just say a couple words here and you wait a little while, say a couple words there. Martin is more would be kind of be like constant. Go.
and he's affectionately known as the Tasmanian Devil because of the he's affectionately known by that.
That's awesome. That's
hey, come say hello. My one dog decided to come and join.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He refuses to look at the camera though. So.
What's his or her name?
She's called Bella.
Bella, nice to meet you, Bella. Say hello to all the metal maniacs out there, Bella.
Now she's probably killed them and murdered them in their beds and stuff like that.
I'm sure.
She's a cross between Queen Victoria and Margaret Thatcher. That's the only way to describe her, really. Yeah.
A total diva.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, absolutely. And also, daddy's girl.
So. Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, sweetie.
Super cute.
Sit still there.
Okay.
Get off my headphone wires.
Well, I guess we could wrap this up. It was great talking with you. Is there
Oh,
anything
thanks,
else you'd
mate.
like to add to this? That I don't want to miss anything that might be important that people need to know about what you're doing or what's going on, or if I totally like missed something that we should have talked about.
No, I think we covered pretty much what I wanted to chat about.
Good.
Would you get off the microphone, sweetheart? Thank you. Um, but yeah, we've got it all covered for me.
Okay, well,
So
sounds great.
yeah,
Appreciate the interview. It's been a total
thank
blast,
you, sir. Thank you.
and
It's been awesome.
I really look forward to, hanging out again and just seeing you play live with Benediction. I want to see Benediction live in the States. That's something I mean, it'd be great to see in Europe too, but I want to see you stateside because it's been way too long since Benediction
Yeah,
played the U.S.
yeah,
And I
really.
and this album's hit, pretty hard in the States. I think a lot of people really dig it. So it
Yeah,
might actually be the right time because I don't remember a Benediction album being so well received in the States since the early 90s or something like that. So
okay,
hopefully we
cool.
get this rolling.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, thank you very much.
I
And
just thought of something
oh,
actually.
okay, let's do it.
Do you remember when Incantation played at the Killtown Death Fest here in Copenhagen?
Yeah, it was a couple years back. Yeah.
It was, yeah. And I'd been there all day, and I was actually waiting for you guys to show up so we could hang out and have a few
Yeah.
beers. And I was very, very drunk when
I'm
you showed up.
surprised.
Yeah, and I just remember seeing you, and I was like, John, hello. Um, here's the Down Among the Dead Men CDs. I gotta go home. And you went in and played, and I had to go home and sleep.
Yeah.
It was, believe it or not, I can remember, and also the look on your face was like, "What? You're leaving?"
Yeah. Well, well, it was probably for the best because we were actually playing a Doom set for that show. So it's like if you were already tired, then we
Oh
would have just
God.
put you right. But yeah, that was a blast. That was a fun time though.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember Dercada was there too playing, so it was really nice to see them get out there and do the show too. But
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, is there any like your websites or social media, anything that you want people to follow? Let
Oh,
people know this stuff.
well, the just look the band names up on Facebook. I also do a radio show called Would You Stop Licking My Computer, Dog?
Oh, are you still
And also
doing the
Leave My
metal for
Beer Alone.
breakfast?
Okay. Yes, I do a radio show called Metal Breakfast Radio.
Oh yeah.
It's not going out as often as I want it to because there's three of us that do it, and we can't all get together during the pandemic. It works better when there's more of us on the show. But yeah, check it out. There's like 500 episodes
Yeah, I
from
actually
the last 13 years
I
that you can check out.
remember when I was doing the record label, you did a show based on some of our material. So I totally
Yeah.
appreciate that. That's really
No worries,
cool.
mate. Yeah. That's a point. That's a point.
Mhm.
Now that I've got you here,
Okay.
is it Ibex Moon or Ibex Moon?
It's Ibex Moon.
Thank you very much. Fuck you, Spenceley. Fuck you.
Yeah,
Right.
Ibex.
My old friend from Metal Breakfast Radio is going to see this.
Yes, it's
Because he
Ibex.
always said it was Ibex. And I always
Ibex.
said, no, Ibex.
Yeah.
But now I've got you here to ask.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. But that's it. But yeah, I appreciate it. And yeah, I guess once again, thank you very much. And just if you can check out, the Rock Fantasy Files YouTube channel. Subscribe and like. Also support local record stores if you can. If you're gonna buy something from any band, really, you should buy it from a mom and pop store where you're actually
Yeah.
supporting people that really like music and doing it, especially with the pandemic going on. It's making it even harder for those stores to stay afloat. And it'd really suck if everyone's only way to get music was on Amazon
Yeah.
because honestly, they don't care about what we do. The guy in the local record store is gonna, you know, care way, is doing it more for the fact that they love
Yeah.
music, and they're doing it as a passion. It's not just, a business model like what the big box companies and stuff. So definitely support that. And yeah, we just appreciate you coming on, spending some time with us. And
No,
I
no
will
problem, mate.
I will be hitting you up for some other panel episodes. So hopefully one
Oh,
of
look
those
forward to
you can
that.
make sometime,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
take care. And I guess,
Cheers, mate.
yeah, party on. See ya.
Cheers, mate. Bye bye.